We're gonna go. Yeah.
So, yeah, thanks everyone for coming. It's been a while since I last seen you friends walking and all and I'm probably doing this. But we have got some and yeah, this evening I wanted to introduce our speaker, Sharif. Sharif is Palestinian academic. He works as lecturer at Al Hassan University. He experienced two aggressions on Gaza, 2008 2009 and in 2014. He moved to Scotland in 2017 to PhD at the University of Barcelona. He is currently working at the Nathan University. And his family is still in Gaza.
Thank you very much. So, friends, yeah. Friends, good afternoon, or it's good evening now, I think. So, thank you for being here today. As a Palestinian, it's your solidarity, your support, and your voice that give us the strength and sustains us in these extremely dark days. I'm before you today with to be honest, with a broken heart, but with unbreakable spirit, because of the unprecedented atrocities against my people in Gaza Strip. But do you know why we are saying that it's unbreakable spirit? Because as a Palestinians, we are deeply rooted in our land. And even though my people now, they are going through very tough time, it's extremely difficult, but they are still there. And they are still resisting what is going on, and they are, even though they are living in, I think, miserable situation. Maybe I will start my talk today with a quote from a woman and a mother. But she said it's really hard for me, even though I have been there during two aggressions, you know. However, when she said that my 6 children who couldn't even fit inside the tent fit in my palms as ashes. So I think this is summarizing the situation in Gaza. People can be categorized in two main categories: either within graves, under the weapons, or within the tents. And both situation is the same for them. Maybe you will be shocked when you are just talking to anyone there, when I'm talking with my family. They are saying that the people who has been killed in a different situation than us, because they know now they are immigrants, and that's it. The suffering, I mean, maybe the word of suffering is not enough to describe the situation there, but the suffering is real there. The people on a daily basis, they are going through a tough and a very difficult time. To be honest, the situation in Gaza is disastrous. It's beyond the word of humanitarian crisis. I think this word is not enough to describe the situation there. Even though personally, I don't prefer to just give figures and statistics about the number of the Palestinian casualties, because at the end of the day, they were having families, they were having dreams, they were having kids, children, you know, which very difficult for me just to count them as a numbers, but just to explain how much this Israeli occupying forces is barbaric and fascist. So maybe we just need to remember the people about these numbers. Now we are talking around roughly 40,000 people killed. 70% of them, they are children and women. 10,000 people, they are still missing. We don't know anything about them. we are talking about more than 80% of the Palestinians' houses, hospitals, schools, universities, completely destroyed. And I'm not an exception from the Palestinians. So personally, I have lost my uncle. He was a prominent, high-profile professor in international law. They targeted him with a shell in front of his 3 kids, shattered him in parts. Again, when we are talking about the buildings, the same. The Israeli occupying forces, they used my family building. It's a 6-story building. They used it for 2 months as an operation room for them in that area. And after they finished their operation in Khan Yunis, they just built the building out. And when my family went there and just filming what happened in the house, I was just trying to give them some hope. I told them that we will rebuild it, we will paint it, and you can still have a place to sit in to accommodate you after this war. But do you know what? After 2 weeks, they targeted the house with the F-16 and they leveled it to the ground. So at that time, I don't have a word to tell them, to say anything to them, even though I was trying my best just to give them some hope. But I started to think where my family are going to stay. So my family, they were displaced in Rafah for around 5 months. And when Netanyahu just decided that he will have an operation in Rafah, which was accommodating at least 1.5 million people. So my family again forced to leave Rafah to Khan Yunis. Where to sit? They just set up a tent over the rapids. And to be honest, my mom, she had an operation before 7th of October, heart operation. And another one was planned on 7th of October, but she didn't manage to have the operation that day. And recently, her situation is very bad. So she had hospitalized, okay, to be honest, almost destroyed hospitals. And her heart muscle just operating, the functioning is just only 40%. And before that, we were trying just to evacuate her from Gaza to have the operation in Egypt. But now, as maybe the majority of you know, that there is no way to get out of Gaza after Israel occupied the borders between Egypt and Gaza. So this is just maybe an overview about the situation there. But personally also, to be honest, I was shocked when, as a Palestinian who lived and experienced to aggression on Gaza Strip, I have seen children, women, men, elderly people dies more than the most. Because I was there in 2014 in aggression, which has lasted for 51 days, and 2008, 2009. So I'm not strange to the death. However, but seeing a little boy blood to death on a stone cold hospital floor, choking on his vomit as he tries to breathe, has got to be one of the worst that I have seen, ever witnessed in my life. I have never seen death like this. So I think it's endlessly horrific. Over now, we are talking about 270 days of this genocide. I recently, before 1 year, I got a kid, a baby. So the father in me, has to be honest, has sobbed endlessly, wanting to hold that baby close. You know, the human inside me just screamed. Because when you are just seeing this, you immediately start to think that if there is a functioning hospital there, this kid will be survived. That little boy deserved to live. to finish his meals. Maybe he was starving for days and days. But because Israel decided to destroy everything, to kill anyone, so he hadn't had the opportunity to live. Again, maybe if I were talking also about the hospitals, I think all of you know that they destroyed almost all hospitals. Even though some people voluntarily, they are trying to at least to fix something that they can fix in that hospital, just to treat the patients for a very basic injuries. The Israelis decided to re-enter a Shifa hospital, Nasser hospital, which is mean that, and recently they were asking the Arabian hospital to evacuate the patients. So the people, they were pushing the patient's bed on the streets, just pushing their friends and relatives, And I have seen one picture that a patient was pushing another patient on the hospital bed. The education, I think it's another catastrophe there. So according to the recent statistics, we are talking around maybe roughly 400 schools, it's completely destroyed. We are talking about 624,000 students are out of the school since 9 months now. The universities, all of them, they are destroyed completely, completely destroyed. To be honest, I was very sorry because before starting my PhD, I worked at another university as a lecturer, and I was the head of the international relation unit in that university. And I was happy when I secured the fund to build a new building, a very beautiful building. I think it costs around $10 million in a new campus to the university. It was funded by Moroccan government. But to be honest, my heart was broken when I have seen the pictures, how they burned out the entire building. And this is the same for all other universities. If we are talking about the women's situation there, especially the pregnant women, so they are giving birth without anesthetic, even though they have cesarean operations. How many kids went through a surgery without anesthetic? The doctors, they use the vinegar instead of the other because they don't have any other things to clean the wounds of the ones of the people there. Infrastructure, there is no infrastructure, to be honest, So the sewage, there is no road for any car or to the ambulances, even though to evacuate the patients or evacuated the people who injured or killed, even though. And of course, the Israelis, they are trying to target any group, even though if you are a voluntary group trying to help the people, you will be targeted by the Israelis. They will kill you because you are trying to help other people. Can you imagine? Do you know why? I think the answer is very clear. They are trying to make Gaza unlivable. So this is the plan from day one. Netanyahu and his extremist ministers, if you are talking about Ben Gvir, he's extremist. He was giving the M16s to settlers in the West Bank, on front of the media, and the West was clapping for them, providing them with war weapons. Either we are talking about the US, we are talking about the UK, Germany, France, all of them, all of them, they are complicit in this war. And we feel as a Palestinians that this is not only the Israeli aggression against the Palestinians. It's the US aggression by its agent, Israel, against us. And because it's very clear that US, they have many interests in the Middle East. And Israel is agents to protect their interests there. So the life there, it's really tough. I was in a phone with my mom, with my brothers there. So my brother, he's a banker. And when I'm just calling him to make sure that they are okay and so on. So I asked him, what is your tasks for the day, you know? So because I was in touch with him before the aggression. And sometimes he was consulting me about some things in his work and so on. So now he's telling me my work, my tasks to wake up at 5 a.m. in the morning, go in a queue to get water, to get bread, just to feed my two little ones. He told me that sometimes I just get back to home at maybe 7, 8, 9, if I'm lucky, you know. And sometimes he told me that the cost of these things, it's crazy, you know. So when you are talking about a gallon of a water, 50 quids, 50 pounds. For people who are not getting their salaries, they cannot work, and so on, you know. If you are talking about 1 kilo of meat, 70 quids, if you can't find it. So the people, sometimes they have only one meal every 3 days, if they are lucky. During Ramadan, the people, they were, for example, fasting. And I was shocked when I was talking to my mom and I asked her what you are going to have today. She told me beans. So I told her that you don't have to fast, you know. So this situation was before May. On May, when Israel decided to start their operation in Rafah, there is no aid entered Gaza since then. So the people now, to be honest, in the entire Gaza Strip, not just only the north, maybe the situation in the north is worse than the other parts of Gaza Strip, but they are starving, to be honest. Sometimes if they are going to the toilet, they are thinking about this, you know, because you need water, you need to clean yourself, you cannot. And especially now, we are talking about a hot weather in Palestine. Diseases, it's spreading everywhere. And the people, they don't know what these diseases are. They don't know how to deal with it. So I believe that a lot of pandemics, it will be there. So this entire situation, I think, is a part of a plan. Because at the beginning of this war, Israel was very clear about their vision, about the ultimate goal of this aggression in Gaza, which is forcing people to leave Gaza. And the plan was just pushing everyone toward Egypt and towards Sinai Desert. And during that time, I still remember that conversation with my two nieces. Suha at that time, she was 11. Zaina, she was 8, because now we are talking around 1 year. So it's a long time, you know. The conversation between them that shall they stay in Gaza or leave to Egypt? So Suha was very angry from Zaina because Zaina, she said that we can go there, maybe we will be having a better life. But Suha told her that my great-grandfather forced to leave in 1948 from Ashdod to Gaza, and we are still here till now, after 76 years. If we are going to leave to Egypt, we will never go back to Gaza. So I cannot imagine this is a conversation between kids looking about their future, you know. And when they, at that time, it was very easy for me to communicate them, to call them, you know, at the beginning of the aggression of Gaza. So I had the chance to discuss this with them, you know. And I was happy from the position of Suha that she understands, even though she's 11 years old, but we were educating them what happened in 1948. I was maybe 2-3 years when my grandfather was telling me what happened with them in 1948. Exactly the same plan, the same thing that happening right now. 1948, there is no internet, there is no media to cover that, but I think now everything is streamed live to everyone. So I think there is no excuse to anyone around the world now to say that I don't know. No, everyone knows. And everyone has a humanitarian or a responsibility, humanitarian responsibility. Everyone has the duty to at least raise awareness about what is happening there. Even though for the people there, they just need this genocide to be stopped as soon as possible. Because every hour, we are losing at least 15 people. Every hour, can you imagine? Every hour. Today, Lancet, which is one of a highly recognized and highly reputed journal, they published an article about the number of the deaths in Gaza Strip, either direct or indirect death. So they are estimating 7 to 9% of Gazan population to be died within this war, either due to being targeted by the Israeli weapons or from diseases or from malnutrition, because again, maybe you have seen many pictures of the babies and kids who just passed away due to the starvation and malnutrition. I think because Israel failed to push the people or force the people to leave Gaza under the fire, now the plan, by the assist of the US, so Biden, he's very clever, he came up with a new idea that we are going to build what he called it as a temporary port to deliver the aid. And I think no aid came till now through that port. The Israelis, they just used that port in their operation in Nusayrat when they killed at least 200 people, secure 4 prisoners, because I call them prisoners because they were soldiers. So they are not civilians, by the way, okay? Which means that, because if they are considered as hostages, so we have now more than maybe 20,000 hostages in the Israeli prisons, okay? So even though now the plan, which is just pushing, because they were just pushing the people to the south, and they were planning just to start by firing, killing the people, terrifying them, pushing them to Egypt. The plan wasn't successful, so now the plan, which is pushing the people near to the sea. And I know the plan. The plan which is pushing everyone toward the sea, so you will see the Israeli tanks in front of you and the sea behind you. What's the only solution? Run away through this temporary port. And the US will be a hero in front of the war that resecuring and evacuating the people through the sea to Greece or Malta or any other place. So Israelis, they call it as a voluntary transfer plan, but the plan is ethnic cleansing. The plan which is just now evacuating or forcing the people to leave Gaza. But now what the Israelis, they are doing, if you are still there, they are terrifying the people by using many means. They are raping women in front of their husbands. They are killing kids in front of their fathers, just terrifying the people to push them to leave. And there is a lot of cases documented, not only by the Palestinians, but also by the human rights organizations. That there is a lot of raping, a lot of killing kids. And I think we have seen, and we were listening, for example, for Hind, when they killed her in the car. She's 6 years old, was in a cold, and trying just to ask for help. And can you imagine 6 years old you just killed here? I was shocked also from a lot of the videos of the Israeli soldiers. One of them, he was in an interview, and when they asked him, because I'm watching the Israeli media, I'm watching the Western media, I will talk about the media later on, but that soldier, when they asked him that about killing the Palestinians, he said that I felt sorry when I killed the 6 years old boy. So I feel that maybe he started to have a kind of sense, maybe he started to realize the truth, the reality. And he completely said that because I cannot find a baby to kill. I think he's psychopath. He's not a human. If you are feeling sorry because you just find 6 years old boy to kill, and you cannot find a baby. So this is the mentality of these soldiers. This is their mentality. The mentality of the political leaders, it's worse than them, by the way. Because the Stalin, I'll call it Stalin heritage minister, because they have stolen all the Palestinian heritage, and they pretend that this is Israeli heritage. He asked the government just to drop a nuclear bomb on Gaza and finish the job. Until now, by the way, they are still saying the same on the media, even though after the International Court of Justice called or put some measures, maybe, okay, but nothing happened on the ground. The situation is getting worse and worse and worse. So I wouldn't like to spend more time just talking, because maybe I need to have a more interactive session with you to answer your questions. But at the end of my talk, I think the message is clear that we are going to stay there. We are not going to leave. Even though my baby was born here in Edinburgh, but I will teach him that one day he will go back to his homeland, because it's his own homeland. It's not the Israeli story. We know the real story. The story didn't start on the 7th of October. Now we are talking about 77 now. 77 years of occupation, of oppression, of mass killing, of eating more land. So by the way, the situation in the West Bank is not better than Gaza, by the way. So since 7th of October till now, around 600 people killed in the West Bank. More than 5,000 people, they just taken to the Israeli prisons in the West Bank only. In Gaza Strip, we are talking around more than 20,000 people. One of them, my cousin, he's a civil engineer. And when he was just leaving Khan Yunis to Rafah with his mom, he's the only one. He's the only child for his mom. They just decided to take him. So we know nothing about him till now. This is since 4 or 5 months. So even though, I mean that the Israelis, they are very clear about their strategy. So Smotrich, which is the finance minister of the Israeli government, he was threatening the other countries that if you are recognizing Palestine, we are going to expand our settlements in the West Bank. And we are going to call each of these settlements with the name of the country that recognized Palestine. So they approved 5 new settlements in the West Bank just for a few days. And he's going to give them the names of Spain, Ireland, and so on. You know, so he's trying to feel them guilty that they recognize Palestine. My view for the next 5 years in the West Bank, that Israel is going to take over the entire West Bank within 5 years. Because Israel is controlling everything in Palestine, in the West Bank and Gaza Strip. So Gaza Strip was under a blockade for 17 years. West Bank is just a fragmented cities. There is no any authority for the Palestinian Authority over any part of the West Bank. Even though the Palestinian president himself, if he would like to leave Ramallah, he needs a permission from an Israeli soldier to leave. So this is the reality. So even though you know that they will make a control over who you can marry. For me, so for example, I have met my wife at University of Glasgow. She's from the West Bank. You know that when we decided to marry, we started to think about where to celebrate, how to celebrate, how our families they can meet each other. We started by thinking about everything. So if anyone will be in our situation, maybe they will decide that this is impossible. You know, so we decided, okay, so we will take that step. We decided to celebrate our wedding party in Jordan because her family, they cannot come and to Gaza Strip. I'm a family, they cannot go and to the West Bank. Even for myself, I cannot go to the West Bank. So as I explained to you, that Israelis, they are making a control over literally everything there. I hope that my people in Gaza will stay there, because I think the situation, I cannot put myself in their place, because yes, I was there in two aggressions, but when they're describing to me the situation, it's unbearable. I start to have nightmares, by the way, you know, that I'm queuing to go to the toilet, queuing to get the food, you know, and it's you know that when you can just put yourself on their position and trying to think about things, it's really difficult when you are waking up every day since 9 months now, going in a queue to get water, to get food, and maybe you are not going to go back to your family. I have a friend, he was quite professional photographer. He was trying to get lower to his family, and he was killed. So which is mean that it's not secure, it's not safe, even though to go and get food to your family. If I can keep going telling more stories and stories and stories, you know. But again, we still have hope, because every time we are looking at the history, look at the UK. It was the greatest, the largest empire on this earth. And now they are struggling to keep together England, Scotland, Northern Ireland, and Wales. So the occupation will be ended one day. This is our hope. And as a Palestinians, I think we have learned very hard that we need to resist. The resistance is duty. So the people who are saying that Israel has the right to defend itself, we are replying that the Palestinians has a duty to resist against the occupation. So this is the equation, very clear equation. And again, this is not just only slogans. No, we believe in this. And I think we have seen many stories on the media just showing the people how much the people, they are still very strong, even though they are going through this enduring genocide for a very long time. But the people, they are still very strong. Even though sometimes we are humans at the end of the day. Yes. Sometimes you feel that hopeless, helpless, yes. But at the end of the day, we stand up firmly just to tell that this is our land, and we know the only way to liberate this land, which is resisting the occupation. And many people, they ask me, what is the solution for this? They call it a conflict, but it's occupation. The only solution, which is ending this occupation, ending that apartheid system, stopping ethnic cleansing, stopping arming Israel, because without these weapons from the US, from the UK, from Germany, without this international community support, Israel will cannot continue in this genocide for one moment. And maybe you have seen Netanyahu when he went to the media and was talking about Biden, he just restricted the weapons, the delivery of the weapons to Israel. So it's a joke, you know, it's a joke, because we know that he's still supplying you with the weapons, and without that, without his support, without Biden's support, his partner in the crime, they cannot continue in this aggression on the Palestinians. Anyway, thank you very much for listening. So I will open the stage for the questions. So if you have any questions or need any elaboration for any point, I'm more than happy to answer these questions. Thank you very much. Do you have any questions, guys? Yes. All right, to be honest, of course, I'm helping them, you know. One of my brother, he's working in the banking sector. He's still receiving his salary, you know, because he's working to a Palestinian bank. So as a kind of as a kind of commitment to their employees, they are still providing them with their salaries. But to be honest, the problem is not with my family directly, but I'm looking at other families, because I had a meeting with Hamza Yusuf once, and we were talking about the situation in Palestine. So I told him that not only my family is there, because all the Palestinians there are my family, you know. So I think the situation, to be honest, is very difficult there, but the people, they are helping each other. This is something good, you know. So if your neighbor, for example, doesn't have a water and ask you for a bottle of water, so you are going to give them the water. So before me, some international organizations, they were bringing some water, you know, and distributing it to the people. But maybe you heard about the aid workers that they were targeted by the Israelis as well. So it's not easy to be shared with the water. It's not just only the problem now, it's the water, you know, because another problem now, which is the sewage. And this is creating a lot of problems, especially in this hot weather, you know. And the people now, the majority of them, when they forced to leave from Rafah to either to their destroyed homes, because I think according to the last statistics, we are talking around more than 90% of the houses in Khan Yunis are destroyed, because Israel spent around 4 months, more than 4 months in Khan Yunis. So there is no infrastructure here. So some of them, they are using the wells, you know, so they are using the solar panels to connect a generator just to try to get some water from underneath by using the wells. But generally, I think it's a nightmare for them to get the water. It's really expensive for them, you know. And the problem now, there is no media coverage on what is going on in Gaza. I feel that because at the beginning of this aggression, it was trendy, everyone was trying to cover what is going on, but I think since now 3 months, I feel that the coverage is just getting down, down, down. There is no focus on what is happening now there. And even though the support, the international support, the aid, no one now talking about the aid, how the aid get to Gaza. So since Israel decided to enter Rafah and destroyed the Rafah crossing between Rafah and Egypt, so there is no aid get into Gaza. Either food, water, medications, nothing. So I think the people, they are struggling in all their life aspects, starting from getting the water to how to be medicated or how to be hospitalized or treated in the hospitals. Thank you very much for your question. Any other questions? Any questions, guys? Ahmed, do you have any questions online?
Yes. So someone is asking if you can tell us a bit more. You just mentioned the role of reporters on the ground in Gaza. If you could,
What, sorry?
Reporters on the ground in Gaza.
All right.
And kind of like a bit more about their role.
So again, as I mentioned now, you know that there is no international journalists in Gaza because Israel prevented them from day one to enter Gaza. Not only the journalists, by the way, but also the United Nations agencies, so they cannot enter Gaza. The General Secretary of the United Nations prevented from entering Gaza by the Israelis. So the idea is very clear that Israel wouldn't like anyone to document their genocide in Gaza. So reporting what is happening there, I think now is a missing thing there. So no one can document this. The only way that the people, they are documenting what is happening in Gaza, which is about going live, if they're lucky to have the internet. Because I have seen some local journalists who are trying to document what is happening, and they were walking for kilometers just to get closer to the borders because this is another story, even before 7th of October, that sometimes the Israeli network, you can get their signals, by the way, okay? Because the core idea, they were competing the Palestinians operators in the Palestinians territories. Because I have done my PhD research on this topic, so I'm familiar with the situation about these things. So even though the local journalists, and you know that sometimes maybe you will be targeted if you are trying just to stream these things, or if you are documenting this by the video and trying to upload it to the internet. So you need to be very close to some spot points just to upload these things. But about official reporting from any international organization, any human rights organization. By the way, there is no human rights organizations in Gaza right now. So the Israelis, they forced all of them to leave, literally leave, because again, they don't respect anyone. They don't respect any organization. And I asked some friends who are working with this organization, what happened exactly? They told us that our headquarters told us that the Israelis, they are very clear. If you are going to involve in any of operations to help the Palestinians, you will be killed. So again, reporting, there is no reporting, there is no official reporting. The people, the local journalists, they are trying their best just to trying to document as much as they can. But I think it's very, very difficult to them to report what is going on there. Going back to the matter of the communication, by the way, so in Palestine, we have only two mobile operators. But these two operators, they are competing 9 Israeli operators, because the Israeli operators, they offer 5G services, but the Israeli government, for example, they're just allowing for the Palestinian operators in Gaza to have 2G, in the West Bank have 3G. By the way, on Eid al-Adha, I was trying to call my family just to say I hope that you are okay and next year you will be in a better situation and so on. I called 7 numbers 20 times, and the joke that because our international calls should go through the Israel gate, because we don't have a direct international gate for the communication, by the way. So any call should go through Israel and then to the Palestinian operators. Called 7 numbers, my mother, my uncle, my brothers, my sister, and guess who was answering the calls? Mossad. they were just taking the calls, and they were talking in Arabic, by the way. And since then, since the Eid, I spent around 2 weeks trying to call my mom. Every time, the same lady was answering my call. She pretended that she's from Syria. And at the end, I told her that I know that you are from Mossad. I just need to talk to my mom and make sure that she is okay. I'm not going to tell her any secrets that could threaten the Israeli national security. It's simply clear that I just need to talk to my mom. So as you can see, even though they are spying on the calls of the people, they are trying, even though sometimes I was terrified to death, to be honest, because I lost the communication with my family sometimes for 2 weeks. I just spend all the time just thinking about what is happening there. I cannot reach them. I don't know if they are alive or not. Even though it's word alive, I think it's not appropriate word, because when I ask them about, I hope that you are okay, they are saying that you are physically alive, but psychologically you are dead. So this is the situation. So reporting is very difficult as well. Any other questions? Yes. Yeah, so I'm trying just to call them international calls, because sometimes I send some messages over, for example, the WhatsApp. So when I send them a message, maybe they will reply after a week or 2. It depends on the internet. So usually I just call them using the international calls. When they were in Rafah, it was much easier, because before destroying Rafah, because there were infrastructure there. So it was much easier to reach them. But now, when they forced to meet Khan Yunis, sometimes I call them, I don't count, but just trying. Sometimes I just give up because I cannot reach them, Sometimes I just call them for one minute, and then the internet is just disconnected, or sorry, the call is just disconnected, because I was happy that I just received, because my little one, he was born on the 19th of June, and my mom, she asked me to celebrate his first birthday. You cannot imagine this, because I decided that no celebration while my family, they are going through this. She ordered me. I don't see. She ordered me that you have to celebrate this. This will be a good memory for him, at least, that you celebrated his first birthday. And she asked me just to buy him a gift from her as well. She told me that you have to get him a nice cake and tell him that this is from your grandmother and this is a gift from her. So she was happy when I sent her his picture, because she hasn't seen him since 8 months now. And the problem when I'm talking with her over the phone, I try to encourage him just to speak with her, just giving some sounds, not speaking, you know. And he was just looking at the screen. He's trying to see her picture. So I was trying to give her an excuse that he's looking at the phone. He would like to see you, you know. And once she started to cry, because she told me that I'm afraid that I would be killed or targeted before seeing him again, you know. So it's not an easy for her, you know. She was happy, you know, when she just had a picture for him, and she was happy that he celebrated his birthday. When I tell the story to the people, some people they were shocked that the people there they are still have this spirit, you know. They love the life. They don't love the death as the Israelis promoting. So this is the reality, you know. So again, even though sometimes I'm just talking with my family, they are saying that we are. Can you imagine that the people they are giving themselves the hope by comparing their situation to the others? So, for example, we have lost my uncle. We started to tell each other that we are in a better position compared to the others who have lost the entire families. You know, when we are talking about losing a house, we are saying that okay, it's the house. The good thing that you were not in the house when they targeted the house. So everyone trying to give the others a hope by comparing our tragedy, you know, with each other. I cannot believe, you know. So when the people they lost their kids, they are just trying to give the hope that okay, so you lost one or two or three of your kids, but you still have one. Sometimes even thought I'm a Palestinian, but sometimes I'm shocked from how much they are strong, how much they are trying to create the hope to themselves. And I think the hope, this is what makes the Israelis worry. Because they're trying to kill the hope. This is what they are trying to. They're trying to kill the hope for the Palestinians. And Netanyahu, he was very clear that he was proud of himself that he killed the hope for a Palestinian state over the last 30 years. And Biden, now he's talking about two-state solution. Another lie for another more years, just to give the Israelis time to expand their settlements in the West Bank. And I'm sure that now they are in a negotiation, you know. But Netanyahu wouldn't like this negotiation to be to reach a deal, you know, because he would like to stay in the power, because he knows that the next day that this aggression will be stopped on Gaza, he's going to the court, not because of what he has done to the Palestinians, but because I think there is 52 cases against him, corruption cases, in the Israeli courts, by the way. So this is the reality, you know. Thank you for your question. Any other questions, guys? Yes. All right. Okay. So this is a very good question. I would ask all of you to continue going to the demos if you do. I would also encourage you to get in touch with your MPs, new MPs, just trying to make more pressure. Even though I don't have a hope in this Keir Starmer, because he's a criminal as the others, but at the end of the day, hopefully that we can make a pressure over the political representatives. I think what we can do maybe after the end of this aggression in Gaza, because at the moment, what we can do is just trying to make a pressure over the governments, trying to push them to make a pressure over Israel to stop this genocide. But after that, we need everyone in his location, in his job, So, for example, I'm working at a university, so I'm planning after the end of this aggression how I can help the students there in Gaza to continue their university studies, or even though the schools started to make a pressure over the union in my university, just trying to make a pressure on the administration to have a plan how we can help them. So if you are working in a specific field, so maybe you can think about how to help. If you are working in the health sector, for example, maybe you can volunteer. I think with many international organizations, they can go there to help in the operations. I think because some people they're asking me about donating. The answer from the people there that the money is nothing for us, because even though if you are a billionaire, you can do nothing with the money, because you don't find anything to buy. You know, if you are going to the market, nothing to buy. But again, for after this aggression, maybe we need to keep raising awareness of the people, because we wouldn't like the Palestinian cause to be just a trend when it's under the aggression. We need to keep educating the people over time. Over time. So in every place, if you can get a chance to tell the people the stories, do it. So I was delivering a course in Singapore last November. And I was trying to find any opportunity to start telling the people about what is happening here in Palestine. Even though it was for 2 weeks, you know, but even though in the hotel, in the lobby, so I trying every time just to trying to tell the people, educating them about what is happening. And of course, maybe you can tell your friends, your family, anyone, you know, that, you know, trying to educate them, telling them the truth. You don't need, I think now, so because the Israeli propaganda was there for a very long time with the support of the Western media. And I think, you know, that Western media, international community, they are complicit and they are partners in this genocide. So I think the majority of the people, they were brainwashed for a very long time. But now I think our job is much easier, because we have a lot of evidences to just give them to the people. And I think many people, because I delivered some speeches in some of the demos here in Edinburgh, many people, they came after the speech and they were telling me that this is the first time for me to come to the demo, but I will come more frequent here. So I think we can make a change in the perception, we can make a change in the principles of the people. We need to build a bigger community, a bigger supportive community to the Palestinian cause. Because again, we are talking about a cause which is there since 76 years, and it will continue for some time, to be realistic, you know. But we shouldn't stop when this aggression stopped on Gaza. We need to continue and raising awareness and educating the people. Thank you very much. Any other questions? 2 minutes. We have 2 minutes. Any other questions, guys?
If you want to, you will also have time to chat for a little bit after the event as well.
All right. Yeah, of course. Okay. Any other questions for including this good gathering today? All right. Thank you very much, guys, for coming today. I hope that you will come more often to other events with Sumud, with any other organizations or military groups that are trying to raise awareness about what is happening in Palestine. And hopefully, we all will have a meeting in Palestine one day. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here, Sherry.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Owen, also for